Before Rosa Parks, before the world knew the Montgomery bus boycott, a 15-year-old girl made history. She was young. She was poor. She was black. And one spring afternoon in 1955, she refused to give up her bus seat to a white passenger. Her name was Claudette Colvin. Her story was nearly erased. But today, we bring it back. Claudette Colvin was born on September 5, 1939, in Montgomery, Alabama. She grew up in a poor neighborhood, raised by her mother and stepfather. Life in the South at that time was ruled by Jim Crow laws. Black families faced segregation everywhere in schools, restaurants, theaters, and buses. Claudette was a bright student. She loved learning, especially history. At Booker T. Washington High School, she studied black leaders and freedom fighters. She learned about Harriet Tubman, who led enslaved people to freedom. She admired Sojourner Truth, who fought for women's rights. These stories planted seeds of courage in Claudette's mind. She began to believe that one person, even a teenager, could make a difference. On March 2, 1955, Claudette boarded a city bus after school. She was tired but excited. She had been thinking about her studies and her heroes. As the bus moved along, more white passengers climbed aboard. The driver ordered Claudette and 3 other black students to give up their seats. The others moved. Claudette did not. She thought of Harriet Tubman. She thought of Sojourner Truth. And she stayed seated. When the driver shouted at her, she said, "It's my constitutional right to remain in my seat." At just 15 years old, Claudette Colvin broke the law of segregation. The driver called the police. 2 white officers dragged Claudette off the bus. They handcuffed her and took her to jail. For a teenager, it was terrifying. She cried. But she did not take back her decision. Her arrest shook her community. Some admired her bravery. But others worried. She was only 15. She was dark-skinned. And soon after, she became pregnant by an older man. In the eyes of Montgomery's civil rights leaders, Claudette did not fit the image they wanted. They feared white America would dismiss her. And so, when the movement needed a symbol, they turned to someone else, Rosa Parks. 9 months after Claudette's arrest, on December 1, 1955, Rosa Parks refused to give up her bus seat. She was older. She was respected. She was seen as perfect for the role. Parks' arrest sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, led by a young minister named Martin Luther King Jr. The boycott became a turning point in the civil rights movement. Meanwhile, Claudette Colvin's name was forgotten. But here's the truth. Without Claudette, there may not have been Rosa Parks. Without Claudette, the legal fight may have been weaker. Because when the Supreme Court case Browder v. Gayle struck down bus segregation in 1956, Claudette Colvin was one of the 4 women who testified. Her courage helped change the law of the land. After her role in the case, Claudette's life was difficult. She moved to New York, working as a nurse's aide for decades. She lived quietly, away from the spotlight. But history has a way of correcting itself. In the early 2000s, historians and journalists rediscovered her story. They began to ask, why didn't we learn about Claudette Colvin in school? In 2005, Claudette was honored during the 50th anniversary of the Montgomery bus boycott. In 2021, her juvenile record was finally expunged, erasing the mark of her arrest. Today, Claudette Colvin is recognized as a forgotten hero of the civil rights movement. Her courage, at just 15 years old, showed that change can start with anyone, even a teenager on her way home from school. Her story teaches us that not every hero becomes famous. Some are hidden. Some are overlooked. But their impact is just as powerful. Claudette Colvin once said, "I felt like Sojourner Truth was pushing down on one shoulder and Harriet Tubman was pushing down on the other, saying, 'Sit down, girl.' And she did. She sat down so that one day, others could stand up. This is Biography Times. And this was Claudette Colvin, the teenage girl who sat down for freedom.